Welcome to Deep Dive from the Utica Phoenix. Today we are diving into the Social Security Fairness Act.
Okay.
This is a piece of legislation that just passed the Senate.
Right.
And is already causing a lot of buzz.
Yeah. This act aims to fix what many see as a long-standing injustice within Social Security, particularly for public service workers.
Public service. So we're talking about folks like teachers, firefighters, police officers, right? People whose jobs often come with pensions, but who also contribute to Social Security.
Yeah, and for years they've been hit by these two provisions, the windfall elimination provision, WEP, and the government pension offset, or GPO.
So the intention?
The intention was to prevent people from what was considered this unfair double dip from both a pension and Social Security.
Right, a double dip.
But the reality is that these rules often penalized individuals who had worked a combination of jobs, some covered by Social Security, and others not.
So it's not necessarily a straightforward double dip.
No.
And our sources are packed with stories about the real-life impact of these provisions.
Absolutely.
Like the bus driver in Ohio who worked for 40 years transporting disabled children. Because of the WEP, her expected $2,100 monthly Social Security benefit was slashed down to just $500.
That's big.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And it highlights the unintended consequences of these well-intentioned rules.
Right.
A lot of people felt like they were being punished for choosing careers in the public service.
Punished for public service.
Now, the Social Security Fairness Act aims to eliminate both the WEP and the GPO.
Yes.
But before we dive into the potential benefits, I think it's important to understand how these provisions actually worked.
Sure.
Can you break it down for our listeners?
Let's start with the WEP.
Okay.
Enacted in 1983, it adjusted the formula used to calculate Social Security benefits for individuals who also received a pension from a job not covered by Social Security.
Okay.
The goal was to prevent them from receiving this perceived windfall, hence the name.
Yeah.
But this often resulted in significantly reduced benefits, even for those who had contributed to Social Security for a portion of their working lives.
So even if you worked in the private sector and paid into Social Security for years,
if
you later took a public service job with a pension, your Social Security benefits could be reduced.
Yes, even though
you paid in.
You paid in before.
Precisely. And then there's the GPO, enacted in 1977. It focused on spousal and survivor benefits. It reduced the Social Security benefits for spouses, widows, and widowers whose partners received a public sector pension.
That means even if you, the listener, work your entire life paying into Social Security, your spousal or survivor benefits could be reduced based on your partner's pension, even if that pension wasn't tied to Social Security. Right. Senator Cassidy shared a story about his high school civics teacher, Miss Betty, whose survivor benefits were drastically cut because of her late husband's public sector pension.
So these stories really highlight the human cost of these provisions and why the Fairness Act has generated so much attention.
It's a big deal.
It seems like this act is really trying to right a wrong, but it's also stirring up some controversy.
It is.
What are some of the arguments against the Fairness Act?
Well, the primary concern is its potential impact on Social Security's financial stability. The Congressional Budget Office projects it will add $196 billion to the federal deficit over the next decade. That's a significant amount of money. And it has people worried, especially given that Social Security is already facing long-term solvency challenges.
This is where it gets tricky,
right?
Yes. We're trying to be fair to public servants, but also need to ensure the entire system remains viable for everyone.
Of course.
And we haven't even mentioned the other bill making its way through Congress.
There's always another bill.
The You Earn It, You Keep It Act.
That one's a big one.
Yeah, that one's definitely shaking things up.
Yeah, it is.
Championed by President-elect Trump. It proposes eliminating Social Security taxes altogether.
That's a big change.
It sounds appealing, but as we know, the devil's in the details.
It's always in the details.
Let's break down those details because this act could have major implications. By eliminating Social Security taxes, wouldn't that create a huge gap in funding?
It would.
For the program.
Yeah, that's a valid concern.
Okay.
The bill proposes reinstating Social Security taxes for income exceeding $250,000 to address that potential revenue shortfall.
Okay.
But This creates a donut hole in taxable income for those earning between $176,101, the current cap, and $249,999.
So you'd have people in that income bracket paying no Social Security taxes at all.
Exactly.
This raises questions about fairness.
It does.
And whether it would actually be enough to fund the program.
Exactly.
And speaking of fairness,
yeah,
didn't President Biden pledge not to raise taxes on anyone earning under $400,000?
You're right. This new tax structure could contradict that pledge. It adds a layer of political complexity to an already complex issue.
Right. So both of these acts highlight the need for careful consideration and a balanced approach.
Absolutely.
We need to ensure fairness for public servants.
Of course.
But also address the long-term financial health of Social Security for all Americans.
For everyone.
We've touched on the Fairness Act's potential benefits and some concerns, but what exactly does it mean for those who stand to gain?
That's a great question. Well, the Act's primary beneficiaries are those public sector workers, particularly those who felt penalized by the WEP and GPO. We're talking teachers, firefighters, police officers, a whole range of public servants who dedicated their careers to serving their communities.
So these are the folks who could see a boost in their Social Security benefits.
Exactly. And not only that, the Act applies retroactively to benefits payable after December 2023.
Oh, wow.
This means that those who are eligible might receive a lump sum payment covering the difference.
Wow. So like back pay?
Essentially back pay, covering the difference in benefits they would have received if the Act had been in effect throughout the year.
That's a pretty big deal, especially for those who have been waiting for this kind of relief.
It is.
It's not just about the money, though, right?
Yeah.
It's also about recognizing the value of their service.
Absolutely.
And ensuring they receive the benefits they deserve.
It's about fairness and equity.
Right.
But it's also crucial for listeners to understand that the Act doesn't magically solve all of Social Security's problems.
Of course, yeah.
There are still long-term challenges that need to be addressed, like the program solvency and ensuring its viability for future generations.
You've mentioned Social Security solvency a few times now.
I have.
Can you explain what that means and why it's such a concern?
Essentially, Social Security solvency refers to its ability to pay out benefits to current and future retirees. The program is primarily funded through payroll taxes collected from working individuals. However, with an aging population and a declining birth rate, there are concerns that the program won't have enough revenue to meet its obligations in the long run. Some projections suggest that the Social Security Trust Fund could be depleted within the next decade or so.
That sounds pretty alarming. So what does this mean?
It is.
For individuals who are planning for retirement? Should we be worried?
It's certainly something to be aware of and to factor into your retirement planning. Relying solely on Social Security may not be enough to cover all your expenses. That's why it's essential to diversify your retirement income sources. Consider a mix of savings, investments, and potentially other sources of income like part-time work or rental income.
It's all about having a plan and not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly.
But this also highlights the importance of the conversation we're having right now.
It does.
The Fairness Act is a step in the right direction.
Yes.
But it doesn't address the larger issue of Social Security's long-term sustainability.
And that's why it's crucial to stay informed and engaged in the ongoing debate about Social Security reform. We need to think critically about the various proposals being put forward, like the you earn it, you keep it act, and weigh the potential benefits and drawbacks. Ultimately, it's about finding solutions that ensure fairness for current retirees while also safeguarding the program for future generations.
And that requires a nuanced understanding of the complexities involved.
It does.
It's not as simple as just eliminating taxes or increasing benefits.
No, it's complicated.
We need a balanced approach that considers all the factors at play.
Precisely. And that's where informed citizens like yourself come in by understanding the issues, engaging in thoughtful discussions, and advocating for sensible solutions. You can help shape the future of Social Security.
It's about taking ownership of our collective future.
It is.
And ensuring that Social Security remains a cornerstone.
Absolutely.
Of economic security for all Americans.
For everyone.
Now, before we wrap up our discussion, there's one more aspect of the Fairness Act I want to touch on. Its potential emotional impact. Our sources are filled with stories of people who felt wronged
Yes.
by the WEP and GPO.
I can imagine.
For them, this act represents more than just a financial boost.
Right.
It's a validation of their service.
Yes.
And a recognition of the sacrifices they've made.
You're absolutely right. It's about restoring a sense of dignity and fairness. Remember Miss Betty, Senator Cassidy's civics teacher?
Yeah.
The reduction in her survivor benefits was a constant reminder of a system that felt rigged against her.
Yeah.
This act, in a way, offers a form of redress, acknowledging that the system hasn't always been fair.
It's a powerful reminder that policy decisions have real human consequences.
They do.
And sometimes it takes years, even decades, to fully grasp and address those consequences.
It's a testament to the perseverance of those who fought for change, and a reminder that we should never stop striving for a more just and equitable society.
Now let's shift gears for a moment and connect this conversation about fairness and financial security to a seemingly unrelated but fascinating trend that's been gaining momentum: the rise of debt forgiveness programs.
This might seem like a tangent, but bear with me. What's intriguing is how both the Social Security Fairness Act and the surge in debt forgiveness programs reflect a growing societal awareness of debt burdens and a desire to alleviate financial strain on individuals and families.
It's like we're starting to recognize that debt isn't always a result of personal irresponsibility.
Right.
There are often systemic factors at play that contribute to financial hardship.
Exactly. The Fairness Act, in its own way, acknowledges a debt owed to public servants who were disadvantaged by outdated rules. It's a form of redress, recognizing that the system hasn't always been fair.
And on a broader scale, the rise of debt forgiveness programs, particularly for things like student loans and medical debt, signals a growing recognition that these burdens can hinder economic mobility and opportunity.
Absolutely.
It's like we're shifting away from blaming individuals and starting to address the underlying causes of financial strain.
It's fascinating to see how these seemingly disparate events converge, highlighting a shared concern for economic fairness and a willingness to explore solutions that address systemic issues.
So let's delve into some of the specific debt forgiveness programs that our sources highlight.
Sure.
They range from targeted initiatives for particular groups to broader programs aimed at alleviating widespread debt burdens.
One notable example is the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which recently forgave billions of dollars in student loan debt for individuals working in public service. This program aims to attract and retain talented individuals in crucial public sector roles by offering loan forgiveness as an incentive.
It's a win-win situation.
It is.
We get dedicated public servants. And they get relief from crippling student loan debt.
Exactly.
Our sources also mention a growing trend of rent forgiveness programs.
That's interesting.
Which are gaining traction, particularly in areas with high housing costs and significant numbers of renters facing financial hardship.
Right. There's a property management company in Los Angeles that wiped out nearly $130,000 in past due rent for tenants who met certain conditions. And in Louisville, Kentucky, the local housing authority is considering a plan to forgive half of a household's past due rent if they complete a budget course and stick to a repayment plan.
These programs recognize that rent burdens can be a major obstacle to financial stability.
They can.
Especially for low-income families.
Yes.
It's encouraging to see creative approaches to addressing housing affordability and preventing displacement.
And then there's the surge in medical debt forgiveness programs. These initiatives have gained significant momentum in recent years, fueled in part by generous donations from philanthropists like Mackenzie Scott, who has contributed millions to an organization that helps eliminate medical debt.
That organization has been instrumental in wiping out billions of dollars in medical debt across the country by partnering with hospitals and healthcare providers to acquire debt portfolios at a fraction of their value and then forgive the debt.
And some states are taking proactive steps to prevent future medical debt by expanding access to charity care and ensuring that hospitals offer discounts based on income.
It's a complex issue with multiple contributing factors.
It is.
But the increasing prevalence of medical debt forgiveness programs offers a glimmer of hope and a testament to the power of collective action and philanthropy
He does.
in addressing societal challenges.
It's truly inspiring to see communities, organizations, and individuals coming together to find creative solutions to alleviate debt burdens and promote financial well-being.
Yeah, and it's a reminder that even amidst complex policy debates and economic uncertainty, there are opportunities to make a tangible difference.
There are.
In people's lives.
Absolutely. These stories of debt forgiveness are powerful reminders of the human impact of financial burdens and the positive ripple effects that occur when we prioritize compassion and find ways to alleviate those burdens.
They also underscore the importance of financial literacy and access to resources that can help individuals make informed decisions.
Yes.
Manage their finances effectively, and avoid falling into debt traps in the first place.
Speaking of resources, one of our sources poses a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
If the Utica Phoenix were to partner with a debt forgiveness organization, what type of debt should we prioritize?
That's a great question.
It is?
It challenges us to think critically about the most pressing needs within our community and how we can leverage our platform to make a real difference.
The source suggests focusing on taxlesia, as many vulnerable seniors are being taxed out of their homes.
Oh, wow.
It's a heartbreaking situation that deserves attention.
But there are other worthy causes as well, like payday loan debt, which often traps individuals in a cycle of high interest rates and mounting financial strain, or credit card debt, which can spiral out of control and have long-term consequences for individuals' credit scores and financial stability.
The possibilities are vast. And the choice ultimately comes down to identifying the area where our efforts can have the greatest impact and align with our values as an organization.
It's a decision that requires careful consideration, research.
It does.
And a deep understanding of the needs within our community.
Of course.
But it's also an exciting opportunity to contribute to positive change.
It's a testament to the power of collective action and a reminder that even small acts of kindness can have a ripple effect, creating a more equitable and compassionate society.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the Social Security Fairness Act, the You Earn It, You Keep It Act, and the rise of debt forgiveness programs, we leave you with a final thought-provoking question. Given all we've discussed today, what steps can we take, both individually and collectively, to create a more financially secure and equitable future?
That's a great question.
For ourselves and our communities.
That's a question that requires us to look beyond the immediate headlines and consider the long-term implications of our choices. We've seen how policy decisions can have ripple effects for decades.
Yeah, it's easy to feel overwhelmed by the complexity of these issues.
It can be.
But I think what's striking is the sense of agency that's emerging.
Oh, absolutely.
Whether it's public servants fighting for fair benefits, communities coming together to alleviate debt, individuals taking control of their financial planning. There's a growing recognition that we're not powerless.
Exactly. We have a voice and a role to play in shaping the future of Social Security, in advocating for policies that promote financial well-being, and in supporting initiatives that create a more equitable society.
We've explored some pretty heavy topics today.
I have.
But I think what gives me hope is the ingenuity and resilience we're seeing across the board.
I agree.
People are finding creative solutions.
They are.
Challenging the status quo and demanding better.
And that's what progress looks like. It's messy. It's ongoing, and it requires us to stay informed, engaged, and willing to have those tough conversations.
Absolutely. The future of Social Security. The evolution of debt forgiveness programs, the quest for financial well-being. These are all journeys, not destinations.
They are journeys.
And the more we understand the complexities, the more equipped we are to navigate those journeys effectively.
It's about recognizing that we're all in this together and that creating a more financially secure and equitable future requires collective action and a shared commitment to fairness, compassion, and innovation.
Thank you for listening to the Utica Phoenix Deep Dive.
My pleasure.
And visit our YouTube channel for other episodes.